to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Greatly, but other than that, I'm doing pretty well.
Well, that's the thing, because we're trying now to do our 2 shows a week, right? So welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Jay. Welcome back to our friggin' show, which I'm surprised we even have a show at this point with the rate your work is trying to get you to go.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not just Jake Jackets at this point. But I'm thankful I'm still in there.
We missed you, dude.
Thank you. I've missed it.
Oh, man.
Well, I like to think that people miss me when I'm gone.
Oh my God. What is the, that's not Pitch Perfect, is that? Is that Pitch Perfect?
Oh, I wasn't even trying to make a reference or anything.
No, I was just like, you got me thinking references with that. Oh gosh. Let me see. All right. So since it's been a while, we're gonna be rusty on a bit of everything, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't even know what our topics are.
Yeah, I probably should have done this before I hit record. Give you a little bit of well, we'll figure it out. But we're gonna do Kepi's first, like we always do. We're gonna do our duty and talk about DraftKings. Yeah. And talk football because we're still doing football. Big strong season for the NFL, big strong season for the network, big strong season for everybody. And DraftKings is right on the cusp of that, hooking new customers up with an offer even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. Obviously, all customers can take advantage of a sweetener every game day. So let's take a look here at our buddies at DraftKings. Let's see, what's a fun one? Bengals is usually pretty fun. I know we got a rivalry game between the Cowboys and the Eagles this week.
Yeah, that's always a good one. Dolphins Chiefs should be interesting. That is a game in Germany.
Ooh.
Offenses. Yeah, there's some good ones on here.
Bengals.
You can also bet on the sickos games.
On the sickos.
Like you could bet on Bears Saints.
Or Raiders Giants.
Or Falcons Vikings.
Falcons Vikings is actually kind of interesting to me, like just thinking back toward team histories and stuff. But I mean, let's do this. Bears Saints, a minus 455 money line on the Saints.
Yeah, they're favored by 8.5. God, that's depressing.
You know what's depressing is the Patriots right now, even though they're favored against the Commanders at a minus 155.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about that the Patriots right now are currently the worst team in the AFC.
They're actually bad.
Yeah.
But hey, no matter where you want to bet on, check out your money lines with DraftKings and get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles in Louisiana, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Perfecto.
Beautiful.
Kepi Keeper time. 10 out of 10, Kepi Keeper time. Let's do it.
I went first last time, so you go.
Oh boy. I'm just thinking because we haven't actually talked about individual games in a while, and we probably won't. Just because it's been like what, 5 games?
Yeah, maybe we could talk a little bit about the Lightning game, but
A little bit.
I think we could focus more on the storylines around the team and what's going on with that. But
Yeah.
what do you
So that being said, you know what? Let's go with the big guy. Let's go with Dmitry Voronkov for
Yeah.
literally everything that big old Dima's been doing.
He's been basically exactly what I thought he'd be.
We've been waiting for this kid for a long time, and he's.
Yeah, I mean, we're not expecting a star here. We're just expecting, a blue jacket.
He definitely is a blue jacket, like through and through from the hard work. Like, doesn't he look like a guy that would perfectly fit in a John Tortorella Blue Jackets team?
Yes.
Like
he was the missing piece in 2019. if he could have just been a little older.
6'5", 240 kid already got into a fight in his first game. Like, come on his second shift.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for him and for doing that
against Arbor Jackeye, because of course.
Yeah. I've loved what I've seen from him. I love what he brings. I think that's an element that we have strangely enough been missing.
Yeah, it's weird with Pazzi, and I mean, like, not all of it's on Pazzi. We'll talk about plenty of that.
Yeah,
because again, we're only 10 games in.
Yeah,
so like there's
not even technically 1/8 of the way through the season because there's 82, but we're basically 1/8 of the way through the season. Like there's a lot of time left.
Excuse me, my brain has just been, because again, I close Fridays, right?
Yeah.
So,
he's had a couple of assists his last couple of games.
Finally got his first goal recently.
Oh, I was talking about my guy.
Oh, your guy. Okay.
He's had a couple of assists lately. Two assists in the last 2 games. Been putting the puck on net. Been hit, even got into a fight at one point. I'm gonna go Cole Sillinger.
Silly's actually a fun pick.
He's looked a lot better. He doesn't look lost. Yeah, I'm giving him credit because I think he's doing a lot of the little things right, and I think he's doing a lot of the little things to try and ingratiate himself back into things after the way last season went. It was obviously a tough season for him.
Yes. Funnily enough, I see parallels.
He's doing the things we want to see him do.
Yes.
And currently, and we'll get into this in a little bit, he's doing a lot of things that, frankly, right now, Kent Johnson's not doing.
And that's what I was saying about parallels.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about KJ in a sec, but Dima and Silly, like, 2 guys that, especially, it started with Montreal, but ever since then, they've just they've been slowly and surely getting better. And we know that Cole, for being a 12th overall pick, he's not exactly shaping up to be that top 6 talent quite yet, because he still has a lot to
still a lot of growth there. But I think that this is what you're seeing from. This is the other side of the argument, right? Where like his rookie year, he looks good. And it's like, yeah, if you got a talented player, let them play and let them figure it out. And then you see last year and a little bit of the start to this season, you see the argument for maybe you should just let the player develop slowly over time.
Yes. And that's a huge thing that's been going on back with Kent in terms of development and letting guys do their thing. And And that's why it was good for Cole to get that stint in Cleveland.
I think so. I think the problem, and I think you and I talked about this last season, was they didn't do it early enough.
Right. So do we want to talk?
Let's get into it right now. We're already on the topic.
I was going to say, yeah. So Chinny's back. The Jaeger bomb is back with the big club. After his little conditioning stint to get him up to speed in Cleveland. But they send Kent Johnson down.
Yes.
As the corresponding move. Now, let's be frank, KJ hasn't been up to hype.
Stinks. He stinks.
He's
I don't know. I don't have a problem saying it. Like, he's a talented player, and I still believe in the guy.
And we love him to death. Don't get us wrong.
You can be real and throw it out there. He stinks right now. He hasn't played well. He's losing puck battles constantly. He makes no impact defensively. He's not creating anything offensively that you would expect him to.
You don't notice him.
He doesn't look like he's up to pace. Yeah, he looks invisible right now.
And, to address the Twitter handling of this, obviously you can have really talented players and still send them down to this isn't a demotion, really. This is it's a demotion, but it's not punishment.
It's not them burying this kid. It's them saying we need more from this kid, and we need to send him a message, and we need to let him figure his way to get back on track. And frankly, he's not going to do it from the press box.
We need to get rid of this idea that going down to the American Hockey League is a punishment.
It's very rare that it is. A lot of times it's a punishment is you're sitting in the press box for 15 straight games. That's
right.
We care about you and we want you to get back on track. That's really what it is, especially for a guy as young as KJ is.
KJ is going to get top line minutes. He's going to get absolute priority in Cleveland. Robbie is playing third line minutes in Cleveland right now?
I have no idea what line he's on right now, but I mean, I don't even know if would we say that was a punishment to Robbie? I don't even know if that was a punishment. It's a crowded forward group.
That was just to get Matthew activated and get him his roster spot.
I know they don't have a lot of elite forwards and stuff like that, but God, the Blue Jackets do have just a lot of forwards.
Yes. Honestly, I'm surprised, just speaking of how good guys have been stepping up. I'm surprised neither of us went with either Bemstrom or Jack because they've both been playing super well.
Yeah.
But, sticking with KJ, we know what this kid is capable of. He's extremely talented. He's creative, but we're just not seeing that right now. And he's lacking a lot of confidence. So getting that top line time in Cleveland can build you confidence when you're especially a kid this age.
Yes. I want to give you an example of a player real quick, and we're going to do a blind resume here.
Okay.
This is a Blue Jackets player from the Michigan. Okay. This is a player who was drafted high. Obviously, a lot of people, had expectations for this kid. We're really hoping that he would pan out to be a core piece for the Blue Jackets for the future. This kid had an okay rookie season. He goes on his next season. He plays 40 games. He has 5 goals and 7 assists for 12 points. And he's at -7. And they sent him to the minors.
Mm-hmm.
He plays out the season in the minors. He comes back the next season, plays the full 82, scores 33 goals and 30 assists for 63 points. Do you have any idea who I'm talking about?
63 points after 12. Only a 5-goal sophomore year.
Drafted high.
Oh, no. I don't know why I can't think of anybody.
Would you like me to tell you?
Let me take a shot in the dark and say Marco Dano.
Nope. This would be Ryan Johansson.
Joey! Oh!
Former 4th overall pick from us.
4th or 5th?
I think he was 4th. And then he followed up that season with 26 goals and 45 assists for 71 points. That would be his last full season in Columbus. He ended up getting traded the next year. But all this to say, And I know a lot of people were worried about Ken Johnson switching his agents. People immediately say, "Oh God, this is the same agent dealing with Seth Jones and PLD. Those are totally two different situations."
Pat Brisson is an interesting point.
I don't think the two things are as connected as people believe they are.
No, because like you said, different situations, and like KJ is currently on the last year of his entry level.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Brisson does to negotiate that this summer.
It's the interesting thing because these are two different situations between the three of them, right? Like this guy is in the last year of his ELC, but really it's his second year in the league. He had a cup of coffee. He had like 9 games. Like when he came back from Michigan.
Right. And that still like that burns the year, but
yeah. And that's the point because it allows the Blue Jackets to extend him sooner and get ahead of it.
Right.
Now, Pierre-Luc Dubois played, he went back to juniors for a year, and then he played the full 3 years of his ELC. First year, they made the playoffs. They lost to Washington in round 1. Next year, they made the playoffs. They beat Tampa, losing the second round. Third year, they beat Toronto, moved to the first round. COVID. So like he had 3 full years in Columbus, and he was interested. I'm sure you read the article that I sent you about Pierre-Luc Dubois that was very detailed about everything that happened for Columbus and for Winnipeg. He was interested in signing a long-term deal here.
But and it's like
the way was figuring out that this is a club that wanted to rebuild.
Right. The whole situation with PLD is so weirdly complicated.
It is. It's very complicated. It's very separate from what we're experiencing right now. Same for Seth Jones. Seth Jones comes over in a trade, signs an extension with the Blue Jackets, stays here for a while, and the second that the team starts to rebuild and he's due for a massive extension,
he wanted to get paid.
He wanted to get paid, and I think the Blue Jackets were in a position where they're like, we're not sure if we want to pay you this. Also, we could get a lot for you.
Yeah, and we're already paying Zach.
Funny enough,
so like
they end up getting Cole Sillinger out of it,
right?
As well as David Yurchek, but
and Boqvist, like we can't forget Boqvist, but still, like there's a lot of pieces that came
and connected Jake Bean as well. But my point with Sillinger is this is a guy that comes in with Ken Johnson at the same time. Like Cole Sillinger's in an interesting spot with the Blue Jackets too, because he's also in the last year of his ELC. And I think people are looking at it and saying, and I don't blame you. If you're a Blue Jackets fan and you see the name Pat Brisson, I think that's how you pronounce it. Like, if you see that name and you're like, oh shit, we're losing these guys. I don't blame you for the mental scarring. We've dealt with Jeff Carter shortly after we had to deal with Rick Nash leaving, although that was justified, but it was too close.
Isn't he also Jack Eichel's agent?
He was Jack Eichel's agent.
Or was?
Yeah. And then you look at other things, Johansson gets traded, Seth Jones, Bobrovsky and Panarin leave. I get it. We know it. We've been over this.
There's scar tissue. We understand.
We feel it here. Okay.
Yes.
I get it. But these things are different. These are different circumstances. And for me, my interpretation, I like Ken Johnson, and you know this. I've been a fan of him since we drafted him.
Love him. Yeah.
But in my opinion, like this is a great opportunity to also see what you've got in the player to see how he reacts to it. If this is a guy who goes down, puts his head down, and gets to work on his game, that's a great thing for you. If this is a player who throws a shit fit here, then you have to question what kind of player you've got for the future here, because for a fifth overall pick who's supposed to be a really talented player, and I think is going to be a really talented player and hopefully a game changer for this franchise, you have to have a next level mindset.
Yes.
And if he doesn't take this well, then that's an indication he doesn't have that. Fair?
That's very fair. And, from what we've seen from KJ, just in terms of his demeanor and how he approaches not just media, but like practices and everything, all the way from in college, he is, from what we've witnessed, he is the kind of player that will work hard. Like, you got to remember, he came in with Nick Blankenberg, who was a captain of that Michigan team. And both of those kids work extremely hard. That whole program works hard.
Is chilling in the minors right now. Like, and that's I think is an NHL quality player. He's just been injured. Like that's so the Blue Jackets, for not being a very good team, they still have a lot of NHL caliber players who in most situations are NHL players. They're loaded with those on defense and at the forward group because Blanks is in the minors, Peak has barely played, Boakfist has barely played.
Yep.
Robbie's in the minors. Not now, Kent Johnson is. These guys have to battle for their time, and this is the level of accountability that we just haven't had these last 2 years.
Yes, and this is the biggest thing with Pazzi thus far is the accountability, right? The multiple healthy scratches to guys to say, hey, we're going to give you this one chance off, and you need to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you need to come back, and you need to be a dog out there.
Benchings, too.
And benchings, yeah.
He benched Severson in game 3.
Exactly. And ever since then, Sevo has been one of the best defensemen on this team.
Yeah. The numbers back it up. Eye test backs it up. I've said this. I've said it a million times for people who don't understand. Damon Severson is going to make mistakes.
Yes.
He's a stretch pass guy who loves to, use his passing abilities as a defenseman to push play forward.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to turn pucks over doing that sometimes. But what you get out of it, both defensively, offensively, it outweighs the mistakes he'll make.
Yes.
It does. So, you have to learn to live with it.
The flip side of the I-71 move is Chinny's back.
And I'm interested because I don't know where he fits.
Well, okay. So when we're recording this, they're going to be playing Washington later tonight.
Good.
And Yegor is on the third line.
Who's he with?
He is with, I want to say, I had this earlier. I want to say he's with Silly. I can find it in a second. Here we go. Okay. Yes, he's with Silly and Bemstrom.
Okay.
So looking at the lines tonight, first line is Gaudreau, Jenner, Roslovic. Good for Rosie. He's kind of deserved that. He's been playing pretty well.
I'm not going to give him any credit.
I will give him credit.
Because every time I do, it tapers off, and every time I don't, he plays well. So as far as I'm concerned, he's been asked this season. Because I'm hoping it continues. Second
line, Big Voronkov getting the audition on the left side of Adam Fantilli.
Who's on the right?
Marchenko.
Interesting.
So you got the two Russian teammates sandwich being the bread with the Fantilli sandwich there.
Yeah, Fantilli's the good meat in the middle.
Third line, like I said, is Chinny, Silly, Bemmer. And I'm surprised Bemmer actually didn't get the first line because, kid's been hot.
Yeah.
He's been really hot.
Yeah. He just needs to keep shooting. Just keep shooting. Stop being unselfish. Shoot the damn puck, dude.
I know. It's great to just watch his overall play develop like this because we know that Bemmer can do this.
Yeah. He's always done it in pointless games.
And then the fourth line is Texier, Corrali, and Danforth.
Interesting. Okay. Who does that leave out?
Well, obviously KJ, because he's
in the
because he's demoted. Technically. That leaves out Olivier.
Okay. I'm not crying about that.
I mean, you don't.
He's not an everyday player.
He's not an everyday player, and I don't think you need that against an old squad like Washington.
Maybe you'd want it against Tom Wilson, but he's not going to be
maybe
playing.
Against Tom, but like,
I don't know.
And then the D pairings stay the same. So we got Z and Sivo.
Yep.
Provi and Yurchek, which how good has this pair looked? I'm
telling you, man, that pair's great.
Oh my God. Provorov leads the team in points.
Yeah.
Hoping for a first goal from him soon, but like, what?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then the third pair is Bean and Goody, which Goody getting in on the goal scoring action.
Dare I say he hasn't been bad this year.
He's been solid.
Yeah.
He's been solid. And Elvis is projected to get the start tonight.
He had a good night the other night.
Really big.
Part of the game. Good for him. So he continues. I don't think he's played poorly this season. But let's hope it continues. I mean, I know it's been tough on him, but
cleaning up on that. Terry is getting close.
Okay.
So who knows how much longer that's going to take for Tarasov to get into at least Cleveland game action, and then eventually we'll see what happens waiving Spencer Martin eventually if you want to bring Terry up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But it's good to see that Daniil's making progress.
Yeah, of course.
I'm very excited to see what Voronkov does on the second line tonight.
Yeah, me too, because this is a guy who's going to work. He's going to put in that work rate and really grind for those minutes, and he can do the dirty work for that line, which I like, because that's things up a little bit for Fantilli and Marchenko. So I like that look. I'm very interested to see how it all kind of comes together.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Marchenko, finally getting the goal scoring monkey off his back against Tampa. We're like, just Dallas is another kind of burn the tape game, isn't it?
A little bit.
A little bit, because like you got to remember,
first period, the second and third were awful.
Well, it's like we'll talk about Dallas a little bit towards later on in the show, but that's one of those games where, like, it's early in the season, it's the opposite conference, and you know where that team also stands, to the point where they're contenders. They're supposed to be contenders.
Was the team in the Western Conference Final last year?
Yeah. So, like, it's kind of like, it's a bit of a throwaway.
I don't know if I want to say any games are throwaways, and the only reason I'm going to say that is because Pascal Vincent is not treating any game like a throwaway.
No, he is not, which that's...
I like what I've seen so far. It hasn't been perfect, man, and there's been a lot of issues that we've seen in previous years, but it feels... What I like is, I like when I watch Pascal Vincent coach, whether it's pre-game media, his actions during the game, or post-game media, what my eyes tell me, what I am seeing, I know he is also seeing. So when I get frustrated at, we're not applying enough pressure, or turning the puck over too much, there's lapses in focus defensively.
Little details, holes in the details.
He is telling you that he sees it and he wants to fix it.
Right, and that
there's going to be effort put in. He wanted to do an off day after Dallas, and he said, "No, we're not doing it." He said,
no,
that game
was a bag skate day.
No, it's like I wanted to give you the day off. You don't deserve it.
Right. It's.
Could you imagine Brad doing that?
That just makes me more irate about having.
And this dude was on the staff last year. Like you'd think that maybe Lars would listen to him. I'm sure he recommended at one point over the years, like, hey, why don't we maybe keep these guys accountable?
Lars let the inmates run the asylum. There was no accountability with Brad Larson.
No accountability, and you saw everything fell off. Like, I know we talk about injuries a lot from last season.
And I mean, that's a valid point.
I think more than anything, the difference between the first year and the second year is only one injury. Everything fell apart, leadership-wise and production-wise, after Zach Werenski got hurt.
Yes.
That's the whole season went off the rails.
How much does this unit look just glued in the room with Z?
It's not perfect. It doesn't look great, but I didn't expect it to. If you had told me before the season, first 10 games of the season, you'd be 4-4-2, I'd say, okay, I can live with that. Yeah. I can absolutely live with that. You know, that's not disastrous. There's some moments in there that are good. There's some things you obviously need to improve on. This isn't a playoff team.
No.
And I sure as shit don't expect
we never said that this was a playoff team.
But God, I mean, it's nice to see someone tell you with their words and with their actions that,
and with their chest.
I'm pissed too. We do need to fix that shit.
And Pazzi is saying it with his chest, man. Like
he's saying it in the calmest way possible, in the most handsome way possible. He really is good with the media stuff. That's one thing that's really impressed me. I love watching
his availabilities are pretty fun, aren't they?
They're great. Yeah.
The Tampa game was a brilliant bounce back from Dallas, and you finally get the monkey off your back for a guy like Kirill Marchenko and a guy like Johnny Gaudreau. Now, Johnny scoring an empty netter to seal the deal. Like,
it's an empty netter, but we've talked about this before. Empty netters can go a long way if you haven't scored in a while. Just seeing the puck go in the net, you never know what it does for a guy. So I'm interested to see what Johnny does tonight against Washington.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big deal. If he can go out and even just get a point, like, you continue that momentum.
Right. Boone getting in on it, and we know Boone is a dog out there.
But he's
always been a dog out there.
He's been really good this year. I think he was good last year and the year before that, but he's been really good this year.
5 goals already for the captain.
I think it's kind of funny that ever since Torts left, he's kind of he's gone back to being a top 6, type player.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't left. He's remained consistent. He's been really good. He deserves to wear the C on his chest.
What do we always say about Boone Jenner? He is not that star.
No.
That, is your cup-winning top-line center. He is your extremely solid second liner that you need in that center depth.
If you win a Stanley Cup,
honestly, on a cup winning team, he
might not even be in your top 5 players.
Yeah, he'll probably be your third line center on a cup winner.
But God, we see how important these players are. Look at Vegas. What did they do? They went out and they traded a first-round pick, and they got Ivan Barbashev. And then after the season was over, after they won the Stanley Cup, they said, we're willing to say goodbye to Riley Smith to keep you.
Right.
These players are important.
You need those, it's so much more than what you see with the eye test.
Yeah.
And it was a huge bounce back from Dallas. And did you see John Cooper afterwards?
Dude, I loved it. Okay, speaking of great media, I can't get enough of John Cooper.
This guy
was my favorite coach in the NHL. I will say that on record. I do not care who knows. He is my favorite. He is the best.
Can we just say that this guy still, like, that we love our references on this show?
Mm-hmm.
It's with John Cooper. It is so much that the episode of SpongeBob with Flats.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he's going to kick my butt. And the fish turns around and he's like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? From 2019 on, all the time.
Yeah.
Granted, Tampa kicks our ass left, right, and center ever since then.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Except for games like this, where it's like, the guy he has his moments where he's so far up his own ass.
Yeah.
Where it's like, can you get a bit of a reality check here, bud?
I love it.
It's
You know
like
what I love about him? I love he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer
he's
who is
absolutely a lawyer.
he is weirdly a better coach than he is a lawyer. But he is a lawyer, and you can see it all the time with how he talks to people, how he talks to the media. And you think about it, like that's a reason that he's been around as long as he's been. He's been around for a decade.
Right.
He's been there forever.
The longest tenured coach.
Do you know how absurd 10 years with a team is in today's National Hockey League?
Oh, dude.
It's disgusting. I can't even comprehend it.
Your average shelf life is what, 2.5?
Yeah, maybe not even anymore. Like I'm curious to see what the average shelf life for a coach is since since 2013 after the after he got hired, as well as after that lockout shortened season.
Right.
I'm curious if you were to do like a non Mike Babcock included coaching shelf life thing, what the number would be, because I'm certain that it's less than 3.
Right. Right. Oh man. Yeah, we'll see how it goes with Washington when we're in the middle of putting this together tonight. Upcoming schedule. My birthday. They're in Florida on Monday.
Oh yeah, man.
And then Thursday on the 9th, they play host to Dallas, and Veterans Day is at Detroit. And then I do want to shout out Sunday, the 12th, because I want to shout out these next couple of games because Sunday, the 12th in Madison Square Garden, our buddy Jimmy is going to be there. And I did a stream with Jimmy just the other day for Leafs Bruins.
Beautiful.
And it was a lot of fun. You would love Jimmy. He's great guy. And then the 14th. This is a big one. 14th at home against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to be in the building for a little late birthday present. So come say hi to your boy.
Will do. If I'm there.
Dude, if you're able to show up and we can just get together and cause some chaos,
that'd be great.
Wouldn't that be the best?
It would be.
Like the first time seeing each other in person in years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We should both, if we plan to try to do this, we should both wear the Johnny jerseys and just just get a little matchy.
Get a picture, create that next album cover.
Oh yeah. Little Lonely Island Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far the vibe check this season, we're 4-4-2. Way like our predictions were like where we were 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're on pace for that. I think we're doing fine, and we're seeing the young guys step up. We're seeing, things are starting to turn the gears a little bit, and everything, like I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, gonna explode after every loss, right?
Right.
So
if we can endure last season, we can endure just about anything. So
I think, yeah. So you've heard us talk about Raycon plenty in the past, whether that's, shopping for Black Friday, like we're doing again, or, Christmas time when everybody is scrambling last minute, or just trying to chill out over the summer. Raycon's back, everybody. So get your holiday shopping in before Black Friday. How about that? So, Raycon first makes the name for themselves in the audio space with their premium price point for brilliant earbuds, but on the cheap, right? The everyday earbuds, known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features. 32-hour battery life is a fun one. Like,
yeah,
who doesn't want like plenty of time with one earbud in at a time, right?
you fall asleep with those in.
Oh, dude, I couldn't tell you how many times I'd be in the middle of a song with my previous earbuds,
Yeah.
and it's like a great song, and then it just dies. It's
Yeah.
like, great, thanks.
Or
So like,
on like a meth song.
right, like exactly. And they the perfect fit with the gel tips and everything. But just like our network has expanded, Raycon is expanding. They now have Raycon Home and Raycon PowerTech. So the faucet filter, when it comes to the PowerTech side of things, they ultra filter water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals, and it's a must-have for ensuring that your water to use to wash your face, to brush your teeth, to do all of that is actually clean.
Yeah.
Again, Raycon known for high quality products, high quality features at half the price of other high end brands, and thousands of 5-star reviews. So why wouldn't you use our promo code to check them out? Get everyone in on the holiday shopping spirit a bit early. Raycon's currently offering 20% off everything on their site with select products for up to 50% off. So beat the crowds, save now on the pre-Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. Buyraycon.com/THPN. Fantasy catching up. Right now, my week for the THPN League, I'm up against Team Chambers, and I am winning. What's the score? 91 to 87.9. So it's a tight one this week. Last week was pretty tight as well. I played against Neil, and I kicked his ass.
Good. Yeah.
I wonder if I can hear. Yeah, standings, schedule. Here we go. So far through the season, I got my ass kicked by Kyle. 105 to 134. And then no, never mind. I lost to Neil by 10 points. So Neil got me there.
Yeah.
But then I beat Griffin. Tell it as it is. I beat him 134.6 to 108.4.
Good.
My summary from that, my top point getter was Jake Middleton.
Jeez. Wow. Good week for him, eh?
Yeah, it was really nice. Fantilli ended up getting me 11.5 points. So he was my top jacket, which was cool. And then so far for this week, we're going to take a look at the summary. My top guy is Besser again.
Love
how good has Besser been so far this year? Oh my God. And Damo is my top blue jacket out of my 4 guys this week.
Wow.
He's got a goal and an assist. He's got a couple of shots. He's got 8.5 points for me this week.
Good. That's what we love to see.
So far.
First goal, Alice, good for him.
Yeah, we're both. I think Ryan and I are both 1-2-0. As we enter, as we're going into the end of week 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see who comes out on top with the even record.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's taking a look at least my fantasy team, and it's weird doing. It's still so weird doing a team doing a league this large.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's 20 teams, and you're like, oh my God. And again, going into we're recording this on a Saturday when there's 15 games on.
Yeah.
So trying to set the lineup is like,
pain in the ass, isn't it? And how many games were on last night? Oh, let me check. Oh, two on Friday.
Amazing 2. And
Amazing.
didn't we have 12 on a Tuesday?
Tuesday we had 2. Wednesday we had 4.
Amazing.
Monday is when we had the shitload of games. Like
Monday was the Frozen Frenzy. I remember this.
Yeah.
And that was okay, but like on a Monday,
12 games on Thursday.
Yeah, and
we went 12 to 15.
We want to talk about attendance issues when you're scheduled.
How many games are there Sunday?
God, not many.
If you had to guess.
3.
It's 2.
The NHL schedule makers, we've already griped about this, but like, man, on Thursday, when you have 12 games and you're competing with World Series and Thursday night football and
yeah,
like, and people have to go to work. Like,
yeah, it's a joke. It's
I understand hosting games during the week and like you can kind of try to get a day off here and there, but weekend games, that's when you need to capitalize on your gate receipts.
Exactly.
Speaking of gate receipts, we're going to look at the West really quick because the Sharks.
I remember back to when we had Locked On Vegas, I think it was on.
The Vegas Fever.
Vegas Fever. Yes. I remember when we talked about the Sharks.
Yeah.
I don't think I was mean enough.
No.
I thought like I went on to that being like, okay, maybe I was a little too harsh on the Sharks. Holy shit. I was not mean enough. Oh my God.
They have a single point through 10 games.
At least they didn't allow 10 goals in a game.
Oh.
That would be embarrassing if they did that.
That would be pretty embarrassing, especially against a team where we were like, well, maybe there'll be hit and miss this year, and then they turned out to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, the most unpredictable team in hockey, Vancouver. Credit to them. I mean,
so do we want to? Yeah, we'll start with the Pacific. Just really quick. Vegas is running amok.
Yeah,
as
Vegas
it should be.
Vegas, I think, has an advantage for the Stanley Cup hangover of the fact that they are in Vegas and they're used to just living
hangovers.
In Vegas. So, I don't think it phased them. So they're getting off to an incredible start because
they didn't miss a beat, man.
Vancouver's been on fire. They've been phenomenal so far this season. The Kings
Brock and Petey. Oh my God, Brock and Petey. Can we talk about those two in particular?
Brock, I'm so happy for Brock. I've always been a big Brock Besser guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm thrilled for him. He's been playing his ass off. He's been scoring goals left and right. And good for that guy. LA is kind of about where I expected them. Their goaltending is still kind of an issue, but they're still able to win games because they're just so damn talented.
Yeah, they're picking it up on the offense.
The biggest surprise here, in my opinion, outside
the Ducks.
It's the Ducks. Outside of the
Oilers. How awesome have the Ducks been? Like
Ducks have been Greg Cronin, baby. They look good.
Lucas Dostal just got Rookie of the Month for October.
Dude.
Troy Terry is tearing it up again. Like Frank Petrano having a year, eh? Right?
Kevin Minchikov.
Oh, Minchikov. What a kid.
Unbelievable. Phenomenal.
It's awesome. I love the Ducks. Just to be outright. Like I've loved the Ducks for a couple of years. And
I like them too. I'm sure my buddy Lucas will be happy to hear that. He is a big Ducks fan.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed their success to start this season. They've won 5 in a row.
Oh my gosh. It's like It's wild looking at the just the points, because you have the disparity between Vegas at 21 points at 10-0-1. They still haven't lost in regulation yet.
Think about what they've done too. Like they did that on their on a pretty decently long road trip. Win at Columbus, win at Boston, win at Philly. And Boston and Philly are good teams right now. Philly's had a good start this season. Boston's just really good.
Boston is in the same boat as Vegas, yeah.
And then they go back home and they beat Arizona, and Arizona hasn't had a terrible start. They're 5-4-1. Like, not only have they won 5 straight, they've done it against pretty stiff competition. The only team that they've faced who's currently below 500 during that span is oddly the Penguins.
Yeah, the Pens are in a weird spot.
Yeah, they're just old.
Pens are in a weird spot. Vancouver's a great surprise. Seeing Thatcher do his thing.
I know a lot of people are looking at Calgary and more so Edmonton as a big surprise.
Yes, those two are shocking.
Shocking. The one that I'm really surprised by is Minnesota. I know it's still early, but 3-5-2 to start the season is not what I expected from the Wild.
No. Going, talking about Alberta in general, like Calgary is a weird one because I didn't expect much improvement. I didn't expect them to fall off like this either.
Yeah.
Like, because they just kind of, what even happened? Because Markstrom's been playing well. Everybody else, what is going on? I know the Anderson suspension hasn't helped.
It definitely has not helped at all. They've seemingly lost a little bit of momentum after that as well.
But Edmonton, man, I know you lost Connor for about a week and a half, but that shouldn't have done that much to you.
Actually, Markstrom's not even playing well. 1-6 with an 897. He had a solid start to the season, but his last 3 games, he allowed 3 goals on 20 shots. Then he allowed 2 goals on 34, not bad, but then 4 on 33, 4 on 30. So not great, but it doesn't seem like he's getting much help either.
So like the Heritage game was just kind of like meh. Right?
Dan Vladar has only played in 2 games, but he's given them 842 goaltending, so that's cool.
Now, Edmonton has a game in hand, but they have very identical records.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what happened? I thought when Connor was, injured, I thought we were going to get a Super Malkin performance from Leon. And
we've gotten it so many times from him, and it just hasn't happened. I think it's just one of those things where maybe he's just not at the top of his game right now, and the absence of Connor has exposed that a little bit. And it happens, even superstars have streaks where they're not, at the top of it, and maybe it's just one of those things where it lined up at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think differently of Leon because of it, because we've seen so many times where he's been unbelievable without Connor.
And how many times does it come back to the supporting cast? I know Evander Kane called everybody out.
Stinks. They suck. The supporting cast just simply isn't good enough. And frankly, my fear for the Oilers is they're going to let a very good coach in Jay Woodcroft go in an attempt to try and just get things back on track, because it's a lot easier to replace one guy than it is 10.
Right. I'm so tempted to go ahead. I'm surprised I haven't already dropped Darnell Nurse from my fantasy team. Because I mean, like he's putting up some points, but at the same time, with the way Edmonton's playing, it's just like, do I really want to keep this guy?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Seattle is a little disappointing, even though it's kind of more so dropping them back to earth. Like, sure, they played phenomenal hockey last year.
Yeah.
They were brilliant last year, but remember, this is also a Dave Haxel team.
I think for them, they got off to a bad start. They've raided the ship a little bit, even if the record still doesn't look up to par.
Yeah.
Because once they lost their first 4 games.
Right.
I think they started off 0-3-1 or something like that. Like for them, they're just waiting for the goals to start falling.
Yes.
And
And losing Tanev hurts a lot.
Yes.
Losing
Absolutely.
Brandon is brutal.
That is a heart and soul guy who is such a big impact on what they do.
Yeah.
So let's look at their schedule real quick so I can point it out. So first game they lose 4-1, then 3-0, then 2-1, then 4-1. You see what I mean? They scored 3 goals in the first 4 games. Then they come back. They're waiting for the goals to fall. They score 7 against Carolina. They win 7-4. And the next game they lose 4-1. Then the next game they win 5-4. Then they lose 3-2, 3-2, and then they beat Tampa 4-3, and then a win over Nashville 4-2. That's a team that hasn't gotten the goaltending that they've needed, which has been a large concern for us because I thought they punched above their weight last year in the goaltending department, and right now I think that's kind of coming back down to earth. But right now,
you got to remember how much they're paying Philip Grubauer.
Yeah, and they're. And look, their next game is against Calgary, so hopefully that's a get-right game for them. But they need the goaltending to at least even out a little bit and just be a little better, and they need the goals just to start coming. And if they can just get some consistency there, they'll be fine.
Real quick, back on Calgary, is this just who Johnny Huberdeau is anymore? It's kind of like a 50-ish, 60-ish point guy. For like, I
have no idea.
Because Nas is fine. It's just nothing's going right for anybody. Backlund's not on the board yet.
I think that's a team that desperately needs to blow it up.
They're having an identity crisis, and they're already paying 2 guys huge full-term deals in Uyghur and Hubie. It's like, how do you fix that?
I think they need to just go full-scale rebuild. I think they needed to get rid of Daryl Sutter, but I think that there's problems beneath the surface that loomed larger than Daryl Sutter that we just were too blind to see.
A lot of the young guys that they have
the year prior to last year, they were so damn good.
Yeah. A lot of the young guys that they have right now aren't getting chances. Like Pelche's hurt. Dustin Wolf is with the Wranglers.
At what point do they just give him a shot?
I would hope soon.
Like you gotta give yourself something to hold your hat on, right?
Yeah. I mean, I understand not,
I know they don't want to rush the kid, but
don't feed Dustin. Don't feed.
Say it.
Don't feed Dustin to the wolves. I had to get it out of me.
That was worse than what I was perhaps anticipating.
It honestly, like, it didn't click until I was about to say it, and I was like, oh yeah, Dustin Wolf.
Do you think he was raised by wolves?
Is his nickname Mowgli? Like,
I actually don't get that.
You don't remember the beginning of the Jungle Book? Mowgli was raised by wolves?
No, I just know the reference. I've never actually read the book.
Have you not watched the Disney movie?
I don't watch a lot of Disney movies, so.
Oh, dude, watch the 60s movie. Come on, it's a classic. Bare necessities, man.
I've never seen it. So, yeah.
Anyway, all right.
For a pop culture podcast, that sure does go over my head more often than not.
Wow. Yeah, okay, so
I think we're caught.
I think the Pacific, we've done that.
Yeah.
Central. St. Louis is as mid as, like, they're shockingly mid.
But they beat the Devils last night. They beat the hell out of them. Like they're speaking of confusing teams, the hell are the Blues? I have no idea what to expect from them.
No, because they don't. You would hope that guys like Kyrou and Thomas turn into stars, but they're not there.
And it looked like they were so close. They were on just the brink of stardom. And then it just backed off.
And I know we're starting in the middle of the division, but it's like, what? Yeah, they're one of the more interesting stories. It's like, what are you? And when this is actually bordering on me getting pissed off about this. When do you turn to Joel Hofer? Because Bitter's not doing anything for you.
They have not addressed that position at all.
When is Hofer going to steal this job?
I think he deserves a shot. I'm really interested. The team right below them.
Nashville is an interesting one.
Very interesting team. They made a lot of weird moves this offseason where they bought out Duchesne, they traded away Ryan Johansson, and then they signed Ryan O'Reilly and Gus Nyquist, and it's like, what are we doing?
Roar's doing all right. Roar's doing fine.
No, I have no problem with Ryan O'Reilly. I like that guy. I like Gus Nyquist too. I just felt when you buy out Matt Duchesne and you trade away Ryan Johansson like that, I kind of felt like, oh, they're gonna try and go rebuild here. But then they kept Saros. They bought in on Ryan O'Reilly and Gus Nyquist, and apparently they're trying.
And Luke Shen, even though Luke is hurt.
Luke Shen and they're such a weird team, a very strange team.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of them other than just like it's the Saros show still.
It is, yeah.
Like that's it. I mean, and that's not to disparage anybody that's been there for such a long time that we forget to mention. Like guys like
for a long time. He's
Orzi, Yossi.
Mm-hmm.
Like we never talk about Roman Yossi, despite how much wow.
Did you hear me?
No.
I said Liam Footy.
Oh, Liam. Oh man, did you see him get hurt already?
What's interesting to me about Nashville is they're in a situation where like you got this year and then next year, I believe, is left on Saros's contract.
Yes.
And you've got Yaroslav Askarov.
Right.
What's the plan there? Because I know they like Kevin Lankinen as a backup, but what's the plan for Saros? Like, are you
what's Lankinen's contract look like right now?
I want to say he's got 1 year left on his deal, but I think that they like him
enough. I think depending on how they do up through trade deadline, maybe you move Lankinen and you bring up Askarov to back up for the rest of the year and run next year with UC Askarov.
It's an option. I just think as far as asset management is concerned, this is probably you're going to have a really good opportunity this deadline to get a lot.
They don't have great pieces to really talk about when it comes to individual players, when it comes to the young guys, because Dante Fabro's fine. Alex Carrier is fine.
Philip Tomasino
is nice.
They've got some young players, but nothing that really stands out. It's a weird team that is in that limbo stage, but they're not young. You know what I mean? They're not young at all.
Yeah, and you don't want to be caught up with a veteran team that's in a mushy middle, because how do you fix that?
And just look at their defense. Roman Yossi, love him, but he's not getting any younger.
No spring chicken.
Ryan McDonough, Tyson Berry.
Tyson.
Those are your youngest defensemen. Dante Fabro, he's been in the league for a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Lauzon's been in the league for a while.
Right.
Alex Carrier's been in for at least
couple years
now. Your youngest defenseman you got on the roster right now is Mark Del Gaizo. I don't even think he's played a game yet.
Right.
So, they're in a very, very strange situation. That's part of why I thought it was strange for them to buy into Ryan O'Reilly when they did. Because I love that play. Very weird fit.
I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know, because I think Barry is so used to success.
Yeah.
Right? Especially recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To where I think he can make it a quick fix with those guys.
He's not coaching though. That's the problem.
But that's the thing. Like,
And I like Andrew Brunette. I do.
like,
But
understand where I'm coming from in terms of like approaching his management style, tying back into his coaching style.
Like, is he trying to go for like a little bit of a New York Islanders thing where it's like it is a little bit of an older roster, but we think that if they play the right way,
the experience can push them up.
Experience can push them up, and they can punch above their weight a little bit because they've got really good goaltending. And if the goals start to come from some of these guys, okay, I could see that. I could see that as an argument. I just don't know if it's the smartest.
Right.
Route.
You mentioned the Wild and how weird
You're
this
just kind of
start
playing
is.
devil's advocate there, but
Yeah,
like
no.
it's just interesting.
You mentioned the Wild and how crazy their start is. Like, hasn't been.
It's been wild.
It has been very wild.
I know that you were trying to avoid saying.
No, I know.
Too. You're like, it's been a crazy start.
It's been bonkers. It's been 3-5-2. Yikes. Not great for Kirill and his band of merry men. And I love a lot of these players. Marcus, Jeek, Freddie Gaudreau is out. Marco Rossi has been awesome now that he's finally starting to actually get games in.
It's been such a rough ride for him. That's a kid I'm really rooting for.
Yes.
Kaprizov's doing his thing. Same with Eriksson Ek. Zuccarello's still on his.
Zuc's doing great.
Jake Middleton, you mentioned, is doing well for you.
Love Jake.
Well. It's really
Jake has stepped up since Spurgeon's been out. Spurgeon hasn't played yet this year.
Like, I'm looking at their roster and I'm looking at the guys like at the top in terms of points and other categories. Like, it feels like they have, like 9-10 guys who are contributing, and then the whole rest of the roster is really
out there just kind of
anchoring down.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
and goaltending doesn't help either.
Goalies
888 from Fleury, 882 from Gustafsson.
And that's really weird because Gus started so hot.
Yeah, man, like it's so surprising because we just expect better from him because he was so good last year. But even then, like, Jake,
and you expect better from Fleury. Like, I get Fleury is aged, but you still expect like at least 900 from Marc-Andre Fleury, right? Like,
this is the one thing that concerns me just a little bit with Gustafsson is he played so well last year, but he was never truly the number one.
Right.
And he only started 37 games. So he didn't get it done. Ottawa moved on from him. He didn't start a ton there. And he goes to Minnesota. His first year's great, but it's a small sample size. And now that he's the number one guy, I wonder if that workload might be just a little too much too early.
Right.
Or maybe it's just it's only 6 games. Maybe it's just a 6-game stretch where he hasn't played well. Could be that. I don't know. It is early, so it is overreaction season. It's a thought I have.
Yeah. Bedard has been a merry men. Chicago is doing what we expected them to do.
Yeah.
Like, Bedard's putting up points. Look at our boy Nicky on the top line with him, eh?
Yeah.
Old man still got it, right?
Dude, Nick has been sticking around longer than I thought he would. I was worried after, especially the trade when he went to Toronto and how he played there, that he didn't have much stuff in the tank. Man, good for Nick, especially after his first year in Boston too. He was good last year, and now he's in Chicago doing his thing. Got a lot of love for Nick Foligno, and Corey Perry's been actually keeping up too,
turning back the clock a little bit.
Yeah. Bringing like good old days of his stint with the Dallas Stars.
Hey, there's no walk of shame going on this time.
Exactly.
I do like what I'm seeing from guys like Reichel, and it stinks that Hall got hurt so quick.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a big blow to them. And their defense, I don't want to call out Seth immediately, but like,
their defense isn't very good. It's not just a Seth thing.
No.
Nick, they employed Nikita Zaitsev nightly, so.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, like, I have a lot of love for our old Columbus product, Connor Murphy.
I always forget that from Dublin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
AAA product.
Hey, forget that sometimes. You know,
he's actually one of the he's a target that contenders are looking at.
I mean,
in terms
yeah,
of like potential
you're
trade.
right. If you need a right hand shot guy who can play third pair minutes, I think he'd be excellent. That's a guy like I guess I'd have to look at his contract first, but
Yeah,
maybe a team like New Jersey could look at because they need
Toronto,
yeah.
especially with the way.
I don't know. Does Toronto want to make another trade with Chicago regarding defensemen?
I don't know, man, because like McCabe being out right now,
Kyle's not there anymore, so who knows? Maybe
maybe Tree takes a look back, and then their goalies are their goalies, and
Mrazek is his numbers aren't bad. It tells you everything you need to know about Peter Mrazek. He is a .917 save percentage right now, and his goals against his goals above his goals against average is still .296. That should tell you how many shots that dude's facing a night.
Well, yeah, because you have Marc Edouard's cousin.
I didn't know they were actually related. I thought they just.
I think they are. I think they are related somehow.
So we got baby pickles out there.
Well, you saw like some sweet pickles.
These are the cut up pickles, the sandwich pickles.
Oh, the pickle chips.
The pickle chips, yeah.
And then just going back from the bottom towards the top. Winnipeg is fourth.
Real quick, I have a joke.
Oh, do you?
With how bad Marc-Edouard Vlasic has been this season, because you sent me that photo from Jay Fresh the other day, and just how he is on that chart.
Where Marc Edouard is, and then Alex is up here.
I think it'd be fair to say that dude is cooked, right? Like he's cooked. He's done.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to call it fried pickles?
No, because fried pickles are delicious.
Fried pickles are so good. They're not so bad for you. So
bringing it home. All right. All right. Winnipeg is pretty much where we expected them to be.
They are bang on average. They're going to be battling for that second wild card spot the entire season, right exactly where I expected to be. Of all the teams that are right exactly where I thought they'd be, Winnipeg's doing the thing.
Right off the back, Connor Hellebuck just carrying the burden as he should.
Yep.
Brossoit's been doing all right.
Mark Scheifele not playing a lick of defense.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Kyle Connor carrying the offense as well. Perfetti is an interesting name to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
Same for Gabe Velarde. It stinks that he's out right now.
He was playing well.
He was playing well to start the year.
I like him. I like his game a lot. So hopefully he gets back soon because that's definitely a piece that they need.
Yes. Especially with how much, because it's like you trade Dubois for Iafallo and Velarde, and Iafallo's been okay.
Yeah. It'll come from him soon. I like it. I like Iafallo, so
I like him too. And that's really, there's not much to say other than like Neil Pionk off the ice being just a gem. And we can talk about him at the end of the show.
Yeah, Neil, he's also rough on the ice, but I would still like to talk about that. Yeah.
And him and Morrissey and like their defense is, their
defense is exactly where I thought it'd be.
Hit and miss.
Yeah.
Hit and miss. Surprise from our Desert Dogs sitting in third right now.
So I talked about this with some friends. Some friends kind of bought in on the Coyotes before the season. I don't dislike their team and their build, their makeup.
No.
I like some of these players. My concern with them, I'm not surprised with how well they've started.
Mm-hmm.
I just worry about the depth.
Yes.
And I think that's where this can unravel. They are going to need to have a lot of luck in the health department to keep us up, but it's still exciting, at least at the beginning.
Think about
this way. So good for them.
What it comes down to for me is, Keller's doing his thing, Schmaltzy's doing his thing, Veggie's doing his thing. Ingram's been a very solid backup so far. Logan Cooley, man. Oh my God, Logan Cooley.
That's a player right there.
That's a hell of a player. Whoo, boy. And you know what it is for me on top of everything is Andre Tourney.
Yeah.
Tourney gets everything out of these guys every single night.
Sean Dursey was a pickup I really liked for them.
I love Dursey.
He's playing really well so far. Matias Michelli's doing the same thing he did last year, which is he's not scoring a bunch of goals, but boy, is he racking up the assists.
He's
Nick Bukestad's still chipping in. Lawson Krause still, in the middle six doing his thing.
Right.
If they can get just a little bit more out of Kerfoot, Boyd, and Zucker,
yes,
that'd be huge. It'd be huge for them.
Kerf's had his moments.
Yeah. I don't think any of them have played poorly, but Boyd and Kerfoot haven't scored a goal yet. Zucker's only got 2 goals, doesn't have any assists. Matt Dumba's got a goal, no assists, but again, defenseman.
Dumba.
Yeah, they went out this off season, and I thought that they bought low on some guys who could really afford to have a good season.
Yeah,
like Jason Zucker. I think Travis Boyd's contract's expiring. Kerfoot, I think they signed to a 2-year deal. It was a 1-year deal. They went out. They actually spent a little bit of money. They spent it wisely.
Yes,
and they put themselves in positions to make their team stronger. And at the very worst, if shit hits the fan, these are assets you can trade. These are guys you can extend if things go well. They did the offseason the right way for a team like Arizona and how they
yes, especially off ice aside for a minute, they're able to get players to come in and buy in. And
it's not easy. Playing at a college rink, playing at a smaller market,
right?
Playing with a team that's got some turmoil in it with the city and are they still going to be here and whatnot? And the fact that all this organizational chaos just kind of brings a really dark, rainy cloud over the building, and you still have that's the one thing they've nailed here. To have all that and to still have a coach be able to bring out the best in his players on a nightly basis and get these guys to buy in, that's what I think deserves the most focus. And you said it right off the top, that I think is the most impressive thing about Arizona. And that's the thing that I think is the one thing you can look forward to the most, because it's a present thing and it's a future thing as well.
You have a coach that's able to take things in stride day by day, right? And
and
you have players that believe in this coach.
Yeah.
We know there were the rumors of Keller wanting out, but he came right out and squashed those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have guys that want to be there. It's just, what does the league do to help them stay there?
And they got to help themselves too.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in it, but
Avs and Stars, we're going to tie these two in a bow really quick, in a bow Byram. The Avs are doing their thing. They really haven't missed a step, except, you're going to have a couple wishy-washy games from Georgiev here and there. Injuries do play a factor sometimes. There's not much to talk about when it comes to Colorado.
Or Dallas. They're both very good teams.
And Dallas, obviously, they kicked our ass.
Yeah.
And, they did light us up. Oh, man. Yeah, and it's we said that Dallas and Colorado are going to be going back and forth. At least Jerome and I said that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jerome actually had Dallas winning the division.
Yes.
So
Be surprised. I mean, like it's a good team. It's a really good team.
it's a very solid team.
And they picked
DeBoer's
Matthew Shane too. Like, and I don't know what he's done so far. I haven't had a chance to really look a ton at Dallas and how they've done in some of these individual games, but it's a deep roster.
yes. All right.
Uh,
And wrapping things up on Dallas, just a quick mention that Tuesday when we record next, Dallas friends are coming. Shout outs to Jordan and Taylor from Two Girls One Stanley Cup. They're going to be joining us for our next show, and we've been wanting to get these girls on since before the season started. We wanted them for the Central preview initially.
Yeah, and with a name like Two Girls, One Stanley Cup, why wouldn't you want them on, right? I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun time.
We're going to have some fun with Jordan and Taylor next show. Yeah. But we do want to end a bit more on a somber note just to pay some respects because we talked about this on the stream. The Adam Johnson situation, rest in peace to a depth guy for Pittsburgh back in the day. And I mean, like we talked, I remember, was it Nick Kurdahl's that passed in the motorcycle accident?
Believe so. I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Kurdahl's and Johnson both only 29 years old.
It's criminal how young these guys were.
Yes. Adam, his incident happened on the ice, playing for the Nottingham Panthers in England. Basically, if you know the Clint Malarchuk story, it's very similar to that. Neck injury, skate to the neck, lacerated parts of his skate to the neck, people. Like, it's brutal. It's criminal. And it's nothing like against the play because it's a freak accident.
It's a total freak accident. What are you supposed to do? You know, I think like, look, you know, in the face of tragedy, you do sometimes get change that's necessary. We're seeing teams start to commit to wearing those neck guards and whatnot, and you know, Darlene's doing it.
Speaking of,
everybody will.
I'm just looking at this. Yanni Gord's doing it today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Giroux and Norris both today as well. Like, it's going all league wide. In terms of individual players,
I wouldn't be surprised if they mandated it. I think they should. You know,
they should, but this is also the National Hockey League, so who knows? I know
it stinks though that for this change to happen, a tragic incident takes the life of a young man, 29 years old. It's just it's hard to comprehend how awful it is. But the one thing I'll say is, look, you know, obviously we didn't know Adam Johnson a ton, but
I mean, he was a black ace.
He played. He lived the dream, man.
He did.
In college. I'm pretty certain he won a national title with Minnesota Duluth. He did the thing, man. He got to the show. He played NHL games. He
scored an NHL goal.
Video out there of him scoring an NHL goal. He got to live out his dream. And,
yeah, he did.
You know, it stinks, but 29 years old, way too young, but kudos to him for accomplishing so much in 29 years.
You need to forgive me because I'm trying to actually find the player that accidentally cut him. I'm trying to find his name and I can't off the top.
I don't remember off the top of my head. All I hope is that
I hope he's okay. Like,
he's okay. I hope that the ref who was nearby, any players involved, like who were just there, fans who were there, I hope they're all okay. And especially for the player, I couldn't imagine. Like, I feel for him because I couldn't imagine like skating up the laces again after that.
No, I know that the Panthers decided to, take a game off.
Yeah.
Like they're taking the time that they need. The Penguins made a couple of tributes. We're seeing individual players, TJ Oceani Gord, Rasmus Dahlin, a couple of the Senators. I know the whole Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins team is donning net guards. The Western Hockey League, the Junior League, they made them mandatory as of Friday. So now that we're seeing this, I understand that players are like, it's a little uncomfortable. It's like, whatever. But it's better to be safe and a little uncomfy than end up like this.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
we need more, like, we need better net guards because, like, they're just kind of this flimsy, weird turtleneck.
A little bit, yeah.
That's all they really kind of are.
Stories, someone online was talking about how they wore a neck guard and they ended up getting a skate right to that area.
Mm-hmm.
You said like there's still some damage, but it could have been so much worse.
Right.
Probably saved his life. So I would agree. If they can find a way to make him better, that'd be great. But just still doing that, if it's even just a slightly preventative measure you take.
Skate injuries in general, like we mentioned the Clint Malarchuk thing that happened well before our time.
Way before our time, yeah.
But like, he was a goalie and he took a skate right to his neck and lacerated everything. And he survived.
Someone on the Panthers back in 2010 took a skate up high in Buffalo.
Well, you remember the Boychuk incident against Montreal too, right? Skate to his eyelid. Which
oh God, I don't even want to think about that. But
no, exactly. He ended up getting a shit ton of stitches and ended up having to retire eventually because of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We love the sport, but that's the one
knife
thing.
Shoes.
It's knife shoes, yeah.
Like that's the risk. Yes, that's the risk you run, but let's invest in the protection of our players, right? Net guards, wrist guards, obviously, like Ilya Mikheyev when he had his wrist injury, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. You need this protection if you want to be able to continue to play the sport that we love.
Yeah.
All the best to Adam Johnson and his family. And again, shout out to Neil Pionk, because Neil was one of Adam's best friends. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they played in juniors together. I believe he was one of his groomsmen, or maybe his best man at his wedding. And he's going to a bunch of funerals and celebrations of life for Adam.
Yeah.
So, shout outs to Neil for just being there.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how he's dealing with that, having been so close to him.
Couldn't even imagine. I mean, it's just so troubling.
I don't know how to end this other than just like, yes, we need better protection.
Yeah. Invest in your players, invest in your product, believe in your players, believe in your product. That would be my advice to the NHL.
Yes. And that means actually show your product too. Gosh, that's a whole argument for a whole other day. And we'll probably end up talking about that with the girls on Tuesday, right?
Certainly we will, but this is a good point to end off on.
2 girls, 1 Stanley Cup. Jordan, Taylor, get ready. We're going to have some fun with a Dallas show crossover coming up for our next weekday show. And I don't know, maybe wish me a happy birthday on Monday.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll wish you like a happy birthday a day late.
A day late, maybe.
I'll do it. I'll wish you happy birthday 364 days early.
I don't know. Maybe you want to draw. I know I drew up a post for you. Maybe it's just an idea.
No, I don't post on my Instagram.
No, I meant on the Twitter, bro. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Hopefully, I'll see a lot of y'all on the 14th for the game against Pittsburgh, and gear up for the girls, because we'll see y'all with 2 girls, 1 Stanley Cup coming up.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.